Well, good morning, team. Hey, we got another project coming up that's looks pretty interesting. I mean, it's not interesting in the sense of what it's going to do because basically it's a sewer line, some kind of mechanism. But interesting because I'm going to be, making a few maneuvers, doing a couple twists and turns, doing some threading on a big piece of stock. So I'm fairly excited about it. Basically what I started with is a square piece of stock like this here. I don't know if I can get it up here. And this is 1.5 inches. And now what I will have to do is trim the corners and bring it down to something like about this. And this material is 1 inch. And then throw it on the lathe and take off the corners and end up with something like this and drill a hole through it. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to sandwich these three pieces together and cut a groove in it. I'm going to show you a video about that, about what it's going to look like when I get to the end. But we've got a bit of lathe work to do, and some we're getting the bearings in the next few days. And then we build a housing to go around this, and you'll see that in the video too. So, hey, stick with me. We're going to have a little fun. We'll be using the lathe, we'll be using the Bridgeport, and hey. Actually, I'm going to take a video. All right, that's pretty good there. Let's pull that one will be better. Okay, and let's come up from above and have a look at this side. And we got some slides in there. Shouldn't be a problem. All right. You can see it's got, what, about a 3-inch bolt on it? My God. Yeah, that's going to be one hell of a piece of steel or aluminum.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good. All right, that's pretty good. Yeah. Good. All right. Great. Excellent. Oh yeah, let's get something from the back. Good. Okay, that's fun. Okay, so we got the thing in the chuck, and we're going to start by facing this thing off. Back this up just a little bit, and then we'll know where our center is. And notice the ink line, I'm not sure where that's at because of course it's going to be a little floppy because the whole perimeter is a little bit odd. Once I get it faced off, then I'll be able to come in and strike a new line and know where I'm at, and maybe I'm going to have to move back and forth or up and down just a little bit in order to get the center line to center out in all these odd angles. So we'll come back in a few minutes and watch this. Okay, so we've got the surface surfaced. Now we're coming in on the perimeter and chewing that perimeter, taking about 100 thousandths at a time. We're taking it about halfway, and then I'll have to come back in. And I think what I did with the other one was I sawed off the excess before I came back in. So I'll probably do that again. Let's take another 100. That's 50 per side, of course. Squirt a little fish oil on it. WD-40. We'll keep plugging away. Okay, so we're going to drill a hole in the center. We'll start with our little pilot, of course. enough to get us started. Put in I don't know, it's something like a 3/8 or something like that. I didn't measure, because at this point I don't care. Put a little WD on there, and let's punch a hole. Actually, we could spin this up faster. Alright, so we've got our hole cut, and it's, I don't know, not maybe 1 7/8 or something like that. Now if you notice, we still got a bunch of meat to cut off of the other side of this, so we've got to flip this thing around, but there's an edge here I have to take off first, so we're going to pull that off. But in the meantime, we've got a giant mess here and to kind of clean up, so I'll be dragging out the vacuum, and you know how that goes. Okay, I'm having a hard time getting this one to center out, and it keeps wanting to skip out over the edge right there, and that's a 10-inch circle there, and I don't really want it to skip out over that edge. So what I need to do is I need to bring the whole thing this way a little bit, and I put some shims in there, but it looks like I got too thick of a shim for that one jaw. So we're going to put a thinner shim in. Let's see what that does. Now it turns out WD-40 removes the blue ink, not the black, but the blue. So squirt a little bit of that on there. It seems like it just erases it. Then I come in again, strike another center point, then get my scale, put it on center, get everything kind of close, and strike my line. Now let's see what that looks like. Much better. I mean, it just barely hits there, but it does hit. So that's pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is tighten everything up and see if it stays there. A little bit, but I think we're good, because I think I went just a little bit wide on that. I'm about 100 thousandths wide on that line, so I think we're going to be able to come into that pretty easily. So, but that's saved for another period here, because it's lunchtime and I'm hungry. So we're turning everything off, and we'll see you in an hour or so, or maybe tomorrow morning. Collier here. We had a nice little rainstorm last night, and everything's kind of calmed down and a little bit chilly. Today we're going to go ahead and face off this piece of 1.5 inch aluminum and also take down these odd little corners to a round section. And then once we get that, both sides faced off, then we're going to take these other two pieces. Let me get over here and grab them. We're going to sandwich everybody together and then take it over to the Bridgeport and drill 6 holes and sandwich these together permanently, and then do some basic machine work for a bearing, and then there's a certain taper. You saw that in the video earlier. So let's start up everything and get it here. Okay, let's go slower. That's probably good. Alright, we'll just dig in a little bit. Let's find center here first. Dig in a little bit, tighten up the carriage, and whoops. We'll go the other way. There we go. Perfect. Now while we're doing that, we're going to go over to the Bridgeport and switch out some heads so that we've got some movement here. Now, in order to get my little crane to work, I don't know if you can see that. Let me just jack you up here and you'll see the little crane in the background there. In order to get my crane to work, I actually have to take the table of the Bridgeport all the way out to the far end, which is not a big deal, but it's one of those things that has to be done in order to be able to get the crane to drop the chucks in place. Okay, we got our 1.5 inch piece pretty well set. I'm going to pull one last little skim coat off of this surface here, just to make sure that we're fairly square up. It's not super important because the 3 pieces are going to be sandwiched together, and then once they're sandwiched, then we'll machine the outside to an accurate surface. So basically what I'm doing now is just getting some smooth faces to make contact with one another. As I said, just come in and just kiss that edge there. Just so I don't cut myself later. And that piece is done. Or done to this level. Now we take all 3 pieces over the Bridgeport and see what we can do over there. You know, now actually, and I'm looking at it, the surface on this isn't real accurate. So I'm going to come back in with the carbide bit and just high-speed bit, I'm sorry, and just kiss each one of these edges. Okay, we've got our coax started, or set. Let's bring it up to speed. There we go. So now all we got to do is bring our table in till we get to 0. Pretty close. We're sitting at about 1/4 right there. There's 0 right there. Perfect. Turn our DRO on. Take it to 0. Now we got to figure out how to stack these so that we've got everything all set up. Now that one's good. That one's good. Yeah, we're in good shape all the way around. So I think what we're going to do is just get some shims, shim this thing up so I can drill through it, and then figure out some way of clamping it or bolting it or something like that. So I'll be back. Okay, so I built a kind of a bracket that's going to hold this in place. I centered the hole, and we don't have to be real accurate with that at this point because everything is just pretty well generally roughed out. You can see the differences in circumferences, and the holes are, you know, they're all kind of close, but not very. So we're going to put 6 holes around the inside of this, and what we have to do, let me get some kind of measuring device here, is there's going to be a slight V and then a 3/4 groove or bullnose in a sense down the center of this. So I'm guessing the slight groove is going to be about 3/4 of an inch, and the groove is going to be about half of 3/4, which is 3/8. So that's going to give us, you know, right around an inch. So we have to be inside of an inch. Let's make it an inch and 100. We have to be inside of that measurement with our bolts. Not too big of a deal. Now what I want to do is I want to be able to come in, put my bolt in really close, and then miss and put my next one in, my next one in, and miss and put my next one in. We're going to hope that that's going to work. So let's bring the rotary table back to 0 and see what we've got. Oh, that's not good because I don't know if you can see it or not, but our T-nuts are hitting the block, or the lockdown block. So back to the drawing board. We've got to basically, we're going to have to bring our hole in just a little bit. Not one thing, it's another. We'll come back. Okay, so we're ready to turn our machine on. Now, I want to show you this, and it isn't quite hooked up yet. As you can see, there's a few wires hanging out. I've got I can't remember what it's called. Anyhow, it's a variable speed control for my original motor for the Bridgeport. So I didn't have to buy a new motor. I bought this unit for, I think it was 300 bucks, and it works great. Literally push the button. It sets the speed, 198 RPM. I'm not saying that's truly 198 RPM, but it's 198 something. And I can go faster and slower. The cool part is that I don't know if you remember, but I used to have to turn this three-phase inverter on that sounded like a jet engine. This thing's fairly quiet. It's easy to handle. Now, eventually, I'm going to get this potentiometer hooked up that'll allow me to change my speed just with the twist of a dial, rather than, you know, going up here and pressing the down button for slower and the fast button or the up button for faster. So that is quite a technological advantage for me. We're going to go back down to our actual project and see what we're up to there. On the rotary table, we're sitting on 0, and I want to bring my minutes and seconds up to 0, which is going to be right there. And lock it and start it. And go ahead and get ourselves a center hole drilled. Kick it off. Go back to the next one. 60 degrees to center to 0. Lock it. Do it again. Okay, we've got our holes drilled to the correct size. Now we're coming in to countersink these holes so these bolts are under the surface of the piece. And I think what we have to do is we have to go down just a little bit deeper. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that gets us underneath. Now we'll rotate, go to the next one. And And this one just actually might hit. Yep, it looks like it hits. So we will go and rotate to the next one and come back to this one after we get an adjustment. There we go.